Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Do you like prepper fiction? I used to call it survivalist fiction, and I personally have been into it since at least the 70s. I mean, old school prepper fiction. Earth Abides, Vandberg, Malevil, On the Beach. Heck, even Atlas Shrugged is kind of prepper fiction. I probably have a bookcase, a small, you know, waist high bookcase full of prepper fiction. I have all the series of the Survivalist series, Jerry Ahern, the Ashes series. What was that, William Johnstone? Something like that. And then it was ghostwritten for a while. I've got it all, and I read it all. And whenever I hear of Survivalist Prepper Fiction new series, I buy it. Of late, I've been mildly disappointed. I'm not willing to tell you, tell the whole world what I didn't like, the series I didn't like. But I just recently got two series, and I was kind of like, not really digging them. One that I haven't made my mind up about yet is the, oh man, what is that called? See, I started reading it and then I put it down. It's about a bunch of like SCA type people in Oregon, and the balloon goes up and weapons don't work anymore. I haven't decided if I like that one yet or not. It's a little bit too pagan for me. But that's not what I want to talk about. Today I want to talk about a series that I found that I really like. I started out, somebody mentioned it. I don't know if it was here on YouTube or on Patreon or whatever, because I found out about it somehow. And I went ahead and I bought on Amazon this book right here. The Reversion. Yeah, that's book one. By Stephen C. Smith. It's on Amazon. And I started reading it. It's a series. It's called the Stonemont. I don't know if that's focusing. The Stonemont Series. And there's 3 books in the series so far. And I started reading it, and I got about halfway through it, and I really liked it. I'm done with it now, and I'm into the second one. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And let me tell you what I liked about it. I'm writing a novel right now that's very similar to this one. And I'm putting it up in segments on the Patreon site for the Jarls, the Jarl level on the Patreon site. But it's very similar to this. When I started reading this, I'm like, wow, this is really similar to my book, except check it out. This is a lot better written. Steve Smith writes a lot better than I do. I've actually gone back through some of the passages. This is just for me now as a aspiring author, and read them to see how did he do that. That's pretty good. I started out my novel, and again, it's a work in progress, talking about an EMP attack, and it just created too many difficulties for the novel to move forward, so I came back and switched it. He's neatly solved that problem in his book, so I thought that was pretty cool. And so I liked it a lot, and then I found out, here's a picture of him. That's Steve Smith. He has a website called Integrative Preparedness here on YouTube. And so I wrote him. And in the first book, he actually gives his email address, which I'm not going to put out here. But he gives his email address in the beginning. And I wrote him, and I told him I really liked his book. And so he said, well, I'll send you the other 2. So he just sent me book 2, which I'm halfway through now, The Revival. And book 3, what is it? I haven't started it yet. The Renewal, in the series. Can you see the theme there? What I like about the book, I don't think I've read a curse word in it, and yet it doesn't feel, ooh, touchy-feely, sweet, milk and white bread. It doesn't feel that way at all. There is some violence in it. There are bad guys and good guys in it. And you get the feeling that he's writing about himself. I mean, for one thing, he dedicates the book to his wife and children, and then they are characters in the book. He's kind of a character in the book with a different name. And then you get the feeling that the guys and gals in the book are people he knows, which I found interesting because in the book I'm writing, which again, this is a real book, I'm just playing. But in the book I'm writing, I've developed characters based around people I know. I think it's easier to keep in the head. Anyway, his characters are well developed. They're the people that are coming together to form a new community, and I think he says that on here. Hold on. This says the world collapsed. Some are ready to start over. For many, it was the end of the world. For others, it was just a beginning or something like that. It was a new beginning. So they are recreating society in the book. So in the first book, you kind of go through the collapse and what happens and how some people come together and how they deal with problems. Boom. In the second book, again, which I'm only halfway through, they're starting to expand. Light attracts light. So they're getting more people. And then what do you do with more people? Logistics. How do you handle more people? How do you deal with the bad guys? Do you have to deal with all the bad guys? All these really interesting scenarios in here that I like. I talk on Patreon a lot about potential threats to people who survived the initial 30 days after a catastrophic event. And one that I constantly bring up as a potential threat are one percenter motorcycle clubs, because they're already organized, they're mobile, they have a hierarchical structure, they're certainly not afraid of violence, and they're already outside of the law. And so, 100 mounted warriors with their support crew coming behind them could put a dam on a little town, right? And so that's kind of been my attitude, and he handles it differently in his book, and I really liked it because I said to myself, I know where this is going, and I didn't. I like people who make me think differently. So if you're looking for a new series to read, I do recommend this one. Again, I've read 1.5 of them. I haven't even started this one yet. It's called the Stonemont Series. I just went to the revival. No, that's book 2. I went to the reversion on Amazon by Steve Smith and ordered it. So that's where I got it, the first one. And then, yeah, I'd sent him an email. We email back and forth now a little bit. And he sent me the other 2 books for free, but with no strings attached. It's not like, I'll send you these only if you review them. He's just like, hey, I want to send you my books. I sent him my book, too. So there you go. If you're looking for a gift, if you're looking for a good read yourself as it starts getting colder and you want to, curl up by the wood stove or something, if you want to get ideas, I'm the kind of guy who writes in my books. I also fold corners down on the pages. I've written in this first book already. I have not written much in the second book yet, but I took notes. I'm like, yep, good idea, good idea. And for some of the series I told you about that I didn't like, I took extensive notes and I put pluses and minuses, or check marks and minuses in the margin. Minuses meaning bad idea, check marks meaning good idea, so that if my kids ever read my books, the ones that I own, they'll know the deal. No minuses yet here. Good books. And his website, Integrative Preparedness, he's not your typical loud talking, brash, camo wearing, gun shooting survivalist dude ranting about the world. He's a thinker, and I think you might like it. So you might want to check out his website. If you do, tell him Viking sent you. And hey, if you're looking for a read, here you go, the Stonemont Series. And again, the first one is book 1, The Reversion. All right, I'll see you out there.